Hi and welcome back to Tiger Hobbies. Before we get started, your ears don't deceive you. This is not Gary, I'm Harry, and I'll be taking over the social media side of Tiger Hobbies for the time being, as Gary has decided to take a reduced role in the social media side of the business. In today's video, we'll be going over a new kit that's just hit our shelves, the Gecko Models M24 Light Tank, better known as the Chaffe. Let's start off by talking about the brief history of the Chaffe itself, which was first saw service in the Battle of the Bulge in 1944. Its service continued into both the Korean War, which is where it saw most of its service, and the Vietnam War. Over 4,000 Chaffes have been produced, and most of them were sold to other countries. There were over 24 countries that ended up buying Chaffes, including the UK, who purchased over 300 of them. It's actually here in the UK that it earned the nickname Chaffe after Adna R. Chaffe Jr., the US general who aided in its development. The M24 Chaffe was intended to replace the M3 Stuart, however it only managed to do this in a few late war battles in World War II, as not enough production could reach the European theatre before the end of the war. Instead, the Chaffe, as mentioned before, would see most of its service during the Korean War, being virtually the only tank the US would have within the Eastern Peninsula at the start of the Korean War. Over the span of the Korean War, the Chaffe would be replaced by multiple different variations of tanks. This is due to its low armour capabilities and the fact that most infantry-grade anti-tank weapons were able to pierce its armour. Outside of the US combat, the Chaffe as the Chaffe itself took a lot of the key features of known World War II tanks. This kit should feel very familiar to anyone that has built 16th scale US tanks before, but while still bringing something new to the table, which is proven by the fact that once again we have a highly detailed internal fighting compartment alongside workable track links and functional suspension we've come to know and love from Gecko Models, meaning this kit is great for both modelers looking for their next challenge or for your next diorama piece, which can be positioned in any way you want, in any battle you can think of. As for the decals of this kit, they are quite limited. As the Chaffe didn't see much action within World War II, there aren't many known divisions that it served within, and that is reflected by these decals, sadly. However, as you can imagine, this does mean with a bit of free hand you can paint it up as any of the known Chaffes that have been out and around the world. Don't have to just stick to what's in the decals. The book itself, however, does lend some great examples from the 1st, 4th and 8th Armoured Divisions, which again can be followed to a T if that's what you want to do. Outside of the US, the Chaffe would see combat all over the world, from the French deploying it in the Battle of Danbenvue in 1953, all the way up until 1971, with its last recorded deployment being against in the Indo-Pakistani War, with 66 Pakistani Chaffes facing off against the Indian Army's T-55s and PT-76s. You can imagine how sadly that went. Now, that's enough about the brief history of the Chaffe. Let's talk about what you actually came here to see, which is the kit itself. The first thing that caught my attention when opening the box is that both sprues D and M, which make up the most of the body of the Chaffe, are taped together within the box. This seems to prevent damage during transport, so I have to give Gecko props for putting some thought into the packaging of this kit and to make sure that nothing was damaged. As for the weapons that the Chaffe is known for, its 75mm main turret. This comes in both plastic sprue as well as a turned metal variation that can be used interchangeably. Alongside this, it has its 3 secondary guns, a 50 BMG Browning M2HB and 2 more Browning M1919s. The kit, just like the Chaffe itself, should... Now that I've covered the brief points of the Chaffe, you're probably sat there wondering, cool, we're talking about the Chaffe, what's with the rest of the Gecko in the background? These are other kits we have just got in as well. They can all be found on our website, so if anything else here is tickling your interest, don't be afraid to head over to tigerhobbies.co.uk and pick it up today. Remember to use code TH10 to get 10% off your purchase and to let us know that you've come from this video. If you've stayed this far, thank you, and remember to do the YouTube pleasantries, like, subscribe so you can see our future content, and hit that bell notification so you can be notified whenever we put a new video out.